Hello, my friends, family, esteemed colleagues. I was asked to explain a little bit about eye pressure. Well, when we are toxic, when blood is toxic, every cell in our body is going to be affected. Not only because of a toxic blood, but also because of toxic lymph. Because what is lymph? A lymph in our body is basically blood without larger particles like erythrocyte, red blood cell. Red blood cell, because it cannot penetrate to the small, tiny capillaries where the blood has to go through. So basically, the liquid, lympha, is cleaner than the blood. But again, we have two types of lympha, we can say. One that is just being secreted from the blood. Basically, blood goes through thick artery into thinner and narrower until it comes to the point, this is always the peripheral tissue, where it has to reach places where the artery is just too tiny and larger particles cannot go through. So this we call lympha. And the lymph is going and continuing to the tissue which red blood cells cannot reach. Now, this is a clean part of lymph that is clean as much as blood is clean. Since we are talking about peripheral tissue, so it's usually also subcutaneous tissue. So it's the skin, it goes all the way to epidermis. And every outer layer of every organ. Now, since skin and mucosal tissue are exposed to the outside elements, and mucosal tissue and skin are porous, they can eliminate, but they can absorb. So whatever is absorbed is not allowed now to go back into the blood directly. First, it has to be checked. What heck was absorbed? If there is any toxin, it has to be dealt with. So this returning lymph now could be very toxic, could be acidic. So before it is allowed to go back into the blood, it goes through lymph nodes. Lymph nodes basically are there to fight if any bacteria came in, if any foreign protein came in, to be destroyed. So partially, the lymph nodes are not really cleansing like kidney, but they are more functioning like a liver, eliminating the toxic stuff, suppressing it, and more of the toxic stuff comes in, the more lymph node needs help, the more blood it needs, the more immune cells, white blood cells it needs, and often it goes into inflammation mode. It swells, becomes painful, larger. But anyway, this is how the system goes. Now, what happens with the eye? There are places in our body which naturally are designed to skew most of the toxicity away. One of them is brain. Blood from the circulation. We have a very, very thick jugular artery and vein. They are taking 1/3 of the whole amount of the blood we have to shoot right into the head. Why? Head is small. What's with the rest of the body? Well, because brain is very nutrient hungry, has to be well hydrated, has to receive a lot of oxygen, has to detoxify. But when we open the brain, when we open the skull, we look at the brain is white. There is hardly any blood vessel in there that would carry red erythrocytes, oxygen. What happens? Well, because brain is protected, so a least possible amount of garbage comes in. So it has like a membrane around it, we call it meningus. There are 3 menings, which blood goes in, and same like placenta and division between fetus and mother's blood, the blood does not penetrate into the brain or doesn't feed the fetus, doesn't mix with that blood. Here comes exchange. Only lymph comes out because it's cleaner. And then brain is being nourished and maintained through the lymph. There are certain things which are small enough that can penetrate. Radioactive isotopes. When you want to scan the brain, they get in. So there is particular diameter that is important to know. That is very small and has purpose of blocking as much dirt that's larger, but smaller particles can penetrate. Not only brain that is kind of protected this way, but our bones as well, our joints. They have very, very limited red blood access. It's basically all lymphatic. Same is with our eyes. The liquid in the eyes is similar to egg white. It is basically well-hydrated protein. And it needs constantly to be cleansed. But again, you cannot have red blood coming in because first, erythrocyte will interfere with your vision. And then on the other side, also more garbage would come that will interfere with your vision. So only lymph, which means that eye is being supported through the lymphatic system. And as a lymph comes in, it has to drain out. Now the drainage of it also are very, very small capillaries. And if you have a problem with the blood circulation, we have a problem on a cellular level, well, this problem does not affect only arteries and veins, it affects your capillary system. So what happened is that, again, lymph that is coming, it's a fresh lymph from the blood. The lymph that's going out is always more toxic because it takes also cellular toxicity out. So if we have a toxic blood, the cells do not hydrate. So it affects blood vessels, it will affect capillary system as well. Dry eyes. Okay, you cannot see, it's bothering you, so you have to put the drops. Is because the capillary system does not allow big enough flow to go through. Now, on the other side, what comes out is usually more toxic. So the outgoing system of capillaries could be even worse affected. And it happens sometimes, oh, not sometimes, it usually happens, that the flow going out is more compromised. So as the plasma comes in, it takes longer to get out, which increases the pressure within the eye. Now, first sign of this is going to be that you start having problem with your vision. You start having myopia. Why? Because since the capillaries are in better shape, those which lead into the eye than those leading out, then there will be no problem or less problem of lymph entering the eye, but more problem taking out. So it accumulates, pressurizes the eye. Now, on the front of the eye, you have eyelids, you have muscles, so it's harder. The rest of the eye is uniform, basically softer. So as the pressure builds, it takes the round eye and starts elongating it. And this is what creates myopia. And as it elongates it, the back point, the nerve where the light is concentrated to go, now moves further. So you are out of focus. And you need to correct this through glasses to break the difference of the focal point. Now, we are being told, well, once you have myopia, forget it. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. There's nothing we can do about it. My wife was diagnosed with myopia when she was a young child in the school. They asked her which letter to, what is this letter? She said, what letter? She couldn't see it. Well, they discovered she had myopia 4. Strong myopia. Well, when we met, then she started hydrating, changed her diet, and within 3 years, myopia went to 2. Now she has no more myopia. What happens? You repair circulation. So, when you repair the capillary system, now the flow is reestablished properly, and pressure within the eye diminishes. As it diminishes, eye returns the proper shape. You can have a also opposite reaction. You can have reaction that there is not enough lymph coming in and eye is drying up. And when this is happening, we are going to hyperopia. The round now starts squeezing, but because up front you have the lens and you have all the muscles, so it does not really squeeze. So what happens? It squeezes this way. So it elongates it in the opposite direction. Again, it's problem of circulation, nothing else. When we are diagnosed with, well, if the pressure, if the capillaries which lead out of the eye are more affected, pressure builds up, so you go with myopia, and then it can continue building up. Usually this is why if you are diagnosed with high pressure of the eye, then usually you already have wear lenses because you have myopia already. Now it's increasing and increasing, so pressure is increasing inside. Now we are being told, yeah, well, this pressure as it increases is damaging the nerve, and then you are going to be losing the vision. So you are being given some baloney medication. Actually, what is destroying the nerve is the buildup of toxicity, because more and more toxicity stays in the eye because it cannot be exposed. The flow is interrupted. This is why you have the buildup of a pressure. The only way to really solve this is to repair the circulation. Now you ask any expert with a white coat and stethoscope, none of them knows how to repair blood circulation. They just say, well, it's a natural deterioration problem of a body and we can just medicate it. Baloney. We are told pure garbage science in a school. But because the truth is so simple, it cannot be revealed. Because if you would know that all you need is a plasma, increased plasma levels in the body, so body can cleanse, this would destroy the whole medical and pharmaceutical industry. Body plasma is water with minerals, seawater, slightly diluted. So once when you start drinking this, you start cleansing and healing process, and you will heal. Eye will heal. The eye pressure is going to correct itself. It all depends on the state of a capillary system. Eye itself has nothing to do with it. Of course, as there is not proper flow because of damages in capillary system, you start dehydrating because the liquid gets more and more toxic. The cells that form the eye, that form the lens, don't hydrate anymore. So they start getting, and because they have to cleanse, they are losing water. So they get more and more dehydrated. So not only hyperopia, but now you are going to have also dehydration of your lens. And lens also is the same type of a liquid. It's a gel composed of well-hydrated protein. As the protein starts dehydrating, it starts showing white protein tissue. What happens with egg white? Egg white is transparent. It's the same thing as an eye gel. And when you heat it up, the protein, it will burst. It coagulates and lets water out. As soon as this happens, the egg white turns white. Before it was transparent. In Spanish, they call it clara de huevo, clear of the egg, which is much better named than egg white. So what happens is that as soon as protein dries up, the white fiber shows up. Cataracts has nothing to do with UVs. It's all baloney, miseducated, indoctrinated, nonsensical science. Nothing to do with truth. You want to repair all this, cataracts included, hydrate, cleanse. Use self-healers protocol. Simple. Only The older you are, the more toxic you are. For a longer time, the more damages you have. So when you start providing your body with what it needs, when you stop poisoning it and start hydrating it correctly with plasma, not with water, especially not distilled water, as some airheads are suggesting, then you go into detox. And all this garbage enters your blood. And this can create very strong symptoms, including pain. So, and discomfort, of course. So, I always suggest guidance so you don't get frightened by it. Symptoms will not kill you. There are symptoms of poison, but the poison you did not take through the food, it's seeping from your cells. And we call this a detox through mucosal tissue, but I made videos about it. So, doesn't matter if you have a problem with eyes, if you have a high pressure in the eye, this means only that you have a circulatory problems. And it's showing an eye. It's affecting capillary system. Soon it will affect kidneys. You'll have problem with kidney. It's all connected. There is no such a thing as disease. These are all just symptoms of toxic body. So, no matter what problem with eyes you have, dry eyes, higher pressure in the eye, you are becoming nearsighted, farsighted, it all depends on hydration of the eye, nothing else. It's simple. It's so stupidly simple that it becomes unbelievable. But that's where we are. Stop using medicinal poisons. Cleanse. Allow your body to heal itself. It is geared to heal itself through the genetic system, genetic expression. It will be changing as you are, as things, as toxic levels and quality of toxins changes in the body. So you will be shifting, pop, 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 pop. Your blood pressure will be going up, will be coming down, will fluctuate. Your heart rhythm will be changing. Your hormones will be changing. Everything, because your body is changing its environment constantly during the cleansing process. And through the genes, the cells are being instructed how to handle every change. So you don't need doctor. You are geared to heal yourself. But we have been duped into believing otherwise. Thank you for listening. Till next time. Love you all.